Right here, Brian.
Dinner. Where?
Big enough.
Catch him.
Big enough.
You ever been going for a jog? I know it's weird. And then find out you're changing sprayer tires instead? Yeah, I was real bummed about it. But we are changing the tires in the sprayer. We're taking the floats off. And we're putting the skinny tires back on. To the point now where we got to spray our wheat. And if we leave the floats on, we're just going to trample down some wheat. So it's kind of one of the deals where we're up in air on it because it's awfully wet. The floats would probably be best, but we need to change them. Every year for the last few years since we had the first Miller, I think, we've always put wider floats on the sprayer. It helps with compaction. Years that we haven't ran them, we can tell for sure. Running these, you just have a bigger tire track, especially in the spring when you're freezing and thawing and the ground's a little soft and whatnot. These tires definitely help a bunch, but they will not straddle corn rows. And they will trample down wheat when it's mature, so that's why we are changing them out. With the Miller, it was always a pain in the butt to change these. It was not all that fun because you didn't have a planetary sitting here to put your wheel on. You just had studs, and it was tricky. This should go on a little bit easier with this the way this one's designed. So this should go a little bit easier, should work a little bit better, but we'll see. I think the quickest we've ever done this is in like 1 hour and 15 minutes. And I think it's taken as long as 4 hours before. Sometimes it's like you can just pick one of them tires up and they just, boom, go right on there. And sometimes they don't. Now, this has been Dad's shop project. Haven't filmed it yet, but he's been building a jack for the sprayer. The way our Miller was, there was a place right here you could bolt onto, and that's what we would do. We would bolt onto there and then use this same air jack to lift it up. This system looks a little bit better. I like how we designed this. Basically just got a tube inside of a tube for height adjustment, welded to another tube with the jack right there. It hasn't fallen yet, so I guess it's working. So now we gotta get to work, so cue the time lapse. So we cannot find our 1/2 inch socket to fit those wheels. It's a 33 millimeter. We'll only have a 1/2 inch or 1 inch, and we can't find our adapter, so we're using the old style actual impact with air. Check that out. Heck of a patch job. Place your bets if you think it'll blow. Well, BJ just drove off with the Gator, and it had my time lapse going on it, but we got this one unbolted. Dad's going to get the forklift. He'll come in here at the forklift, pop that wheel off. We'll put it over there for now, probably. I gotta get the skid steer to get the skinny rubbers out of the shed, because if we go in there with the forklift, we will be stuck. There's BJ's potential project. Check for snakes, check for mice. Check out them legs. Nice and pale. I bet we don't have the forks here. They're probably at the other farm. That's my guess. Yep. Wrong tire. See the treads backwards? Rookies. Well, that first tire that we put on backwards went on there smooth. That one was the problem. That one just took about 45 minutes. So this is BJ's first go around with the farm pit team.
We're a lap down.
Yeah, we're a lap down. We're a couple laps down. Like I said, the quickest we ever done is about 1.5 hours, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Just spent 45 on that tire. So now we're almost done. Dad, you got a patent on this?
That's somebody else does.
What?
Somebody else does.
Didn't you see this on a YouTube video?
I see on YouTube that bale or whatever.
I guess it's a good thing we're not selling them. I personally like the rattle can paint job. Hey guys, after we changed the first tire, everybody broke for lunch. While everybody was eating, I thought I had time to run to the local Polaris store to pick up my kid's birthday present. A little Polaris 170. But anyways, that ended up taking 4 hours because it was the week of Memorial Day also. So Dad and BJ went ahead and changed the next 3 tires by themselves. It ended up taking them a grand total of about 40 minutes. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button while I'm thinking about it. Good morning everybody and welcome back to Brian's Farm Videos. Today, a little bit different start to the day. We're walking some fields. We've got an expert in with us. We got Bushel Billy. He's gonna walk through and tell us a little bit of things on our corn, see just how bad it is and how much we're gonna have to replant, and if he thinks some of this that's been underwater is gonna survive or not. So if you don't know Bushel Billy, you got a YouTube now, don't you?
I do.
Just search Bushel Billy and I believe he's the only one. So So Billy, these little corn plants we're seeing trying to emerge here, do they have any chance, or are they done for, you think? I mean, there's not enough of a stand here to really matter, I don't think. But
no. And that's what we're going to see with the water damage, is you'll have most of the water damage where there's not going to be nothing. It's a replant situation. And as we move up through the field, you'll go from 1,000 plants, 10,000, 20,000. And the key is we got to find the line where there's enough stand to leave it alone, and what part of the field is going to have to be redone.
Right.
And some of these plants are going to make it, some won't. A lot of them are just rotted, or the disease has got them. But regardless, there's not enough here.
So is this something we'd be ahead to hit with a vertical till and then come back and plant?
If it dries out.
Yeah.
When these things sit in the ground, don't grow, they can't take up the seed treatment. And so it's a little, they're vulnerable when they're stuck in wet soil. Then the pathogens will come in and affect the mesocotyl and just choke off all the green leaf material that's wrapped up in the coleoptile. And that's why we got this little dead twig up there, because the pathogens came in and just choked everything off. And she died. So this one's not gonna make it. Kind of the hourglass shape in there and the discoloring.
So it's death warrant's already signed then.
Yeah. So purple seed, so this is our refuge seed. But the pathogen's in the plant and it's just strangling.
So if this wasn't a refuge seed, would it have made it?
No.
Okay.
But the reason you got that hourglass shape there is the pathogen just strangling it off. And pretty soon this will be dead and crispy, just like the last one we looked at.
Okay.
Because it's getting choked off right there.
One other issue we've got, see these tracks and divots and places where there used to be corn plants? Pretty positive that's goose damage. Frickin' honkers. So from now on, I'm going to start writing off my ammo, my duck stamp, all my duck hunting supplies, all my waterfowling gear. More goose damage. More goose damage. Now, in all honesty, this is not enough goose damage to even mess with replanting this. This part did have water on it, but these plants are going to survive, and we're not going to replant for that goose damage, because like we're in maybe a section the size of your living room. So in the grand scheme of things, we're probably going to damage more corn trying to replant that than fix. So, but there's some more, and there's some more, and there's some more. Now we're going to check out a bean field.
These 15-inch?
Yeah.
Oh, they're right there. See how the neck is starting to thicken up?
Uh-huh.
It's pushing. That's what it uses to push the cotyledons up through the top of the soil. It gets thicker and thicker until it pulls it up through the soil. So they're starting to push, reach for the sky.
Most of the other beans that were planted the same as this are out of the ground, but they also didn't have water on them. Trying to go through it.
Trying to get through it.
They're probably not going to make it, are they?
They might.
I would think they'd just
It's not that deep.
This one row is going to make it at least. So if they can get out of the ground before the sun bakes it, they'll survive.
Yeah. Yep. This is a race against time at this point.
Guess I'm glad I didn't bury them 2 inches deep. Got a interesting situation. You can see there's several spots just like this where there's probably a 2-inch divot in the ground, which would have been about where the seed was, and it's just dug out all around it. Looks a little bit different than the duck damage and the goose damage. Interesting. Well, it's also where the kernel is.
It is.
That's I've never seen this. So here we're at a different farm. This is the one in the flood videos that we started at. The big bottom that was completely underwater. Some of this corn is going to make it for sure, but just digging right through here, you can basically anything where you can see the water line, the corn on the other side of that's probably going to be okay. Wouldn't you say, Billy?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then,
and you know, there's not a whole lot of difference in fall here, but just that little amount of water, you move 20 feet that way, we'll have an acceptable stand, and then we move down here, we only drop a couple inches in elevation, but it's enough that after 5 days underwater, it's run out of oxygen.
Right.
It's smothered.
Yeah.
And so regardless if these little ones make it, it's not going to be enough to produce a crop, and we're looking at a replant situation now.
Unfortunately, this low spot in this field and all these bottom fields is not in a uniform straight line. They zigzag everywhere, so it's not going to be the funnest to replant, but I think a lot of this we will be able to replant. It is drying out pretty quick, really. I mean, I would say if we didn't have any more rain, definitely in a week we'd be able to replant this spot for sure, I think. It is 86 degrees today, so it's baking it pretty good. Now tell us what you guys think would cause that kind of damage. I don't know if you can tell, but we're about 2 inches down, just wallered out, almost like a hog, except it's just in little spots. And we're going with a muskrat. All right, we're out of the flood damaged fields, but one thing we had been noticing, this bean field, we were getting having some stand issues in it. First, Dad thought it was a planter issue. I don't think it's a planter issue. I think we got some slugs. We got one here, they were eating on.
Let's see. Right there on the cotyledons where they ate through and they got the growth point before the thing ever come out of the ground. They're just going down the furrow, mowing them off. There's another one.
It's not super uncommon for us to have slug issues. This is just one pass. I mean, we probably have maybe 2 acres out of this 40-acre field, so we'll just hit this with a planter again. And hopefully by that point it'll be hot enough and dry enough that the slug issues won't be a problem. Billy, is it true that the slugs kind of thrive in cool, wet weather?
Well, they do. They do. They're sensitive to light and heat. And I think this is just about the width of a tillage pass, so I'd hit it with a pass of tillage first before you replant it. That'll disrupt and kill a lot of the slugs, and you'll have a better chance of getting a stand the second time around. But you can see they're kind of marching from the ditch out to the field. The damage is worse along the road and then lessens as they've been moving out. So I think no more than you got here, I'd tear it up first and then hit it.
Yep, you can definitely see the difference there. And there. Now this is on top ground. I think we're actually going to replant that today. It has dried out enough. Basically, the ground that we had not planted yet, I think, is getting close enough to dry that we could plant today. The flooded ground, we're going to wait a little while on it just so we can try to replant much as it as possible. All right, fast forward 2 hours. Bushel Billy's left. We are going to go fix a field tile, I guess, across the road from the house before we go replant that. So just heading out the shop here to see if Dad's ready to head over to the backhoe. That's fun. It's 89 degrees. One good thing about this heat, though, it is drying things out pretty quick. I think we will be able to plant the ground that was not flooded out, like the ground that we still had to go. I think we'll be able to plant it in the next couple of days. Like plant all of it in the next couple of days, providing we don't get rained out. Definitely wish we were planting, but we've got to get this tile fixed so we can plant these 3 fields back here. So I guess we gotta do what we gotta do. Also, Dad is somewhat worried, and I am too, that if we plant while this ground's still drying out, I mean, it's Some of it is plantable for sure, but some of the ground we have to go is still a little bit tacky. We're afraid, as hot as it is, there's no rain in the forecast for 3 more days, that we're basically going to plant it and it's going to bake into that ground, it's going to crust over, and that crop will never grow. So if we let it dry out another, even if we don't plant anything till tomorrow, I don't think it's going to hurt versus trying to mud it in while it's this hot. Not a good combo. Now what happened here in this field many years ago, before this highway went through, this field went over to on the other side of that highway. Highway went in, it went right on top of this tile line. Never been an issue, but for whatever reason this year it started backing up. I mean, it's probably been messed up for a while, but this year it's really been piling up over here. A lot of water's been standing there and we just got to get rid of it. Yep, I think we need some tile. If I can get by with just standing right here, it's really not bad. We got a nice breeze. We're in the shade. I got a cooler full of water. Not bad right here. Out here, it's about 88 degrees. Does it look like there's 5 feet of fall from the backhoe to there? Apparently that wet spot up there is 5 feet higher than that backhoe. So this will be easy, I guess. I don't even know if we can mess up 5 feet.
About a half-inch high here.
All right, getting our everything laid out. We are going to be a little short on tile, so we will have to go get a connector. This is only 4-inch. This dirt's fairly sandy, so we do not need anything bigger, I don't think. This should work.
And here we have the Southern Ohio dingbat making a trench nest.
Here's a good illustration of our soil type. Gravel. We got some sandy clay and then gravel. Well, I guess we found the spot. So you can see this water is just laying here. Here's the old tile line Dad dug down to find. And yeah, that's what we're trying to drain. Alright, just doing a little bit of backfilling, and then we're going to hook this new tile line into the old one. I guess we're going to rock, paper, scissors to see who goes into that mud pit. That should be interesting. And this job will be done. OBJ will probably have to hit this with the Turbo Max before I plant it. I doubt we plant it tonight. This will probably be tomorrow's project. To be honest, I'm a little bit optimistic after hanging out with Billy and walking those fields. A lot more of that corn's going to be okay than I thought. It's basically just the low areas. The water just didn't get off in time, so it's not going to be quite as bad as we thought, but I would say we're probably going to be replanting about 150 acres of corn, and probably beans are going to be a little bit more. Probably 300 acres of beans would be my guess. Do what?
I seen on Naked and Afraid. That water's running, and it's clear. You could probably drink it safely.
If you get naked, we will be all afraid. Oh, there she goes. I think we overwhelmed our tile line.
You just dug a ditch.
Alright, so this job is not quite done. We're going to let this drain overnight, and then I guess we're going to mess with it some more then. But it's a little late today, so I think we're going to go eat some dinner. We'll relocate this little guy to its new home, right there.